There are forces in the universe older than the stars, older than time, older than the very concept of heroes. Beyond the veil of matter lies the warp, a storm of raw emotion where hope and terror twist into living gods. Khorne, the blood god, rules bloodlust and endless war. He cares only for strength and combat and demands that blood flows. Nurgle, the plague lord, is the master of decay. He offers twisted comfort through disease and death. Tzeentch, the changer of ways, is the lord of fate, plots, and sorcery. He spins the threads of destiny, rewarding ambition and guile with the power to reshape reality. And Slaanesh, she who thirsts, represents excess, sensation, and perfection. The dark prince of chaos embodies obsession and pleasure, be it beauty, passion, or even pain itself. In another reality, far across the multiverse, a familiar world stands unprepared, a world of capes and symbols, of legends who shaped an age of hope. They believe themselves guardians of truth and justice. They believe their will is unbreakable. But the ruinous powers care nothing for belief, because when the lights of justice touch the sea of souls, the righteous will be tested by their own nature. One by one, the champions of this bright world felt the pull of ancient gods, older than their sun, merciless as oblivion. This is the myth of a universe undone, the tale of how the Justice League was claimed by chaos. Clark Kent, Kal-El, Superman, the last son of Krypton, a symbol of hope and protection. He has always carried the weight of two worlds, Krypton's legacy behind him, humanity's fate in front of him. In Superman's mind, compassion became a burden at some point. Each life he could not save, each innocent cry for help he could not reach, leaves a scar on his soul. When the warp touches him, it senses not anger, but exhaustion, and in that exhaustion, one god hears him clearly. Grandfather Nurgle sees Superman's pain. The Plague Lord is the chaos god of despair, decay, and disease. He revels in mortal suffering, but he also relieves it in his own twisted way. To grasp Superman's fall, we must understand Nurgle's true nature. Nurgle is not simply a god of rot. He is the god of giving up. He preys on those who are tired, afraid, overwhelmed. Instead of offering power or glory, he offers something far more seductive, relief. And where other chaos gods demand effort, Nurgle wants you to stop trying. You are suffering, let me hold it for you. Stop struggling, stop hurting, stop caring, just rest. He erases anxiety, he mutes guilt, he dissolves fear. His followers feel happy, even joyful, as their bodies rot away. This is Nurgle's paradox. He gives genuine emotional peace at the cost of physical decay and total surrender. In Nurgle's love, despair becomes serenity, defeat becomes acceptance, and oblivion becomes home. For someone like Superman, who carries the world's pain as if it were his own, that promise is deadly. Nurgle offers the Kryptonian release from his unbearable responsibility. Embrace the rot, whispers the Dark Father. In my gardens of pestilence, no mortal will have to suffer again. And for the first time in his life, Superman feels something alien to him, relief. When Superman accepts Nurgle's embrace, his mind changes first. He stops panicking, stops worrying, stops mourning, stops caring. Instead, he feels comfort, connection, purpose. He now believes the kindest thing he can do is free others from suffering as well, not through hope, but through decay. Then eventually his skin blisters, his cape rots into cloth of plague, his symbol fades, a halo of buzzing flies follows him like worshippers. He becomes the angel of Nurgle's mercy, a serene, rotting guardian who thinks he is saving humanity by delivering Nurgle's gifts to all, bending them into the Plague Father's garden. But not all heroes break softly. Some realize the truth of the ruinous powers far more violently. Diana of Themyscira was born a warrior. From childhood, she was trained to fight for truth, wielding the lasso of truth and the sword of Athena. Her code is one of honor and battle. Her lasso is not merely a weapon. It is her philosophy, her foundation, her faith. Truth heals, truth unites, truth can end conflict, but the warp is not a realm of unity. It takes her devotion to truth and pushes it far beyond where she ever intended it to go. For in her unwavering pursuit of truth, one god sees an opening. Khorne, not the deceiver, not the schemer, nor the manipulator. Khorne does not lie. Khorne does not flatter. Khorne does not conceal his nature. His creed is simple and undeniable. Strength is truth. Weakness is falsehood. Battle reveals the soul. Words can deceive. Diplomacy can mask intent. And ideals can be twisted, but combat cannot lie. And so Khorne doesn't send an illusion to Diana, only a messenger of brass and scarred flesh, towering and unyielding. He does not tempt her with promises. He simply declares, only strength endures, only strength is real, all else is noise. Diana, of course, faithful to her principles, refuses him. She binds the messenger in the lasso of truth, expecting struggle, denial, exposure. Instead, the messenger stands calm and speaks again, now illuminated by the lasso's undeniable power. Strength is the only truth. The lasso cannot be lied through. It cannot be tricked. It reveals only truth. In that moment, Diana realizes that Khorne is not deceiving her. His philosophy, brutal as it is honest, raw, unmasked. A truth she has felt on every battlefield she has ever walked. A truth she has sensed in every duel that tested her. A truth she avoided for the sake of peace. Conflict reveals character. Battle strips away lies. Strength decides fate. Everything else is illusion. Once that realization takes hold, Khorne no longer needs to tempt her. Her philosophy shifts. Truth becomes clarity. Clarity becomes certainty. Certainty becomes judgment. Judgment becomes war. Her armor reshapes into brass and bone. Her lasso burns crimson, not corrupted but clarified, reforged to reveal a harsher truth. Her tiara sharpens into a war crown. Her eyes ignite with unwavering conviction. Diana becomes Khorne's apostle of truth, the warrior who reveals reality through battle, the judge who settles disputes with strength, the executioner who believes every skull taken is a lie, erased. In her mind, she is not falling, she is awakening, embracing the truth she saw with her own lasso. Only strength is real, only strength is honest, only strength is truth. However, some other heroes shall not drown in blood, they are destined to drown in their own mind. Bruce Wayne has always been defined by one thing: control. Others rely on powers, gods, or miracles. Batman survives by mastering the only weapon he fully trusts: his mind. He is the world's greatest detective, the master strategist, the man with a plan for everything. He believes that with enough preparation, enough knowledge, and enough foresight, any outcome can be controlled, any tragedy can be prevented. And that is exactly what makes the changer of ways find him. Tzeentch comes as a whisper in the data, a pattern in the noise. He appeals to the detective, to the scientist, to the tactician. The chaos, god of knowledge and fate, appears as the ultimate solution. Tzeentch whispers, why fight crime, one night at a time? Why predict the future when you can script it? He offers Bruce the one thing he has chased since that night in Crime Alley: certainty. The power to see every single variable, the vision to weave the ultimate contingency plan for the very future itself. Bruce arrogantly begins to gaze into the warp, believing he has protected his mind with a technique he learnt from the Tibetan monks, convincing himself that he is analyzing this new threat. He thinks he is studying the great conspirator, learning its rules to defeat it, but he has already doomed himself. In the coming days, Batman's paranoia deepens. He begins to run countless simulations in his head. He stops sleeping because dreams are inefficient. He stops trusting because allies are variables he cannot control. He thinks he is outsmarting the gods. He thinks he has a plan to contain the warp, but his very plan is the ritual. In the meantime, crime drops in Gotham, sharply. Batman arrives seconds before bombs detonate. He intercepts crimes that have not yet been planned. He saves lives that no detective should have known were in danger. Bruce tells himself this proves he is right. The visions are not whispers. They are data, probability curves, outcome trees. Futures collapse and reassemble at his command. For the first time in decades, Gotham feels stable. But every logic gate and tactical decision he makes is a prayer to the god of schemes, who blesses Bruce with even more insight. Then one day he sees a vision, a terrorist blowing up a hospital. Bruce makes his way to the scene as usual. Another day saved, he thinks. He blinks and sees something strange. It is his hand on the detonator. Something is wrong. This is not an error. The model has shifted. The future he saw was real, but it required him to become the cause. And somewhere in the warp, the changer of ways cracks a devious smile. In a puddle of water, the Dark Knight sees an image that he cannot recognize. His cowl has shifted, fracturing into a kaleidoscope of blue and gold feathers and shifting glass. His cape a shadow that whispers the secrets of the future. His eyes, once filled with resolve, now burn with the maddening light of infinite possibilities. He has ascended, the sorcerer of Gotham, no longer fighting crime, but orchestrating it, weaving intricate plots of suffering and redemption, simply to see how the threads of fate tangle. He creates villains just to test heroes, burning entire cities to forge a single outcome, convinced that only he sees the grand design. Batman wanted to mold the future. Zinch granted his wish. Now he is a prisoner of his own infinite schemes. But where the schemer fell to the mind, our final champion is doomed to fall to his very soul. Hal Jordan, a man without fear, a monolith of bravery, wielding a weapon limited only by his willpower and imagination. The Green Lantern ring is a tool of creation. It brings thought to life. It demands focus, precision, and an indomitable will. But there is a thin line between the power of will and the corruption of obsession, between the wonders of creation and the horrors of excess, and waiting there at that line is the Dark Prince. Slaanesh is often misunderstood as merely the god of lust, but she who thirsts represents excess, sensation, and perfection, the obsession to be faster, to burn brighter, to be better. The Dark Prince does not even attempt to scratch Hal's unbreakable will. No, she takes a more cunning direction. She appeals to his pride, to his desire for perfection. Is that all? The prince scoffs. Your light is dim. Your constructs are crude, static, dead. Why just save the day? Why not make it beautiful? Hal gradually begins to push the ring beyond its safety limits. He stops making simple shields and hammers, but begins sculpting intricate, impossible works of art in the middle of battle. He becomes obsessed with the sensation of the light. Eventually, the ring no longer just hums on his finger. It burns with an exquisite ecstasy that wires directly into his nervous system. The Guardians sensed the corruption and tried to intervene. They warned Hal of the violet impurity bleeding into the green, of the chaotic noise drowning out the will. But they were too slow. Hal was already too far gone. They had no choice but to sever his connection to the central battery, fearing total corruption of the entire core. Hal, now fueling his ring only with the raw, screaming energy of the warp, stops caring about the innocent people he saves. He only cares about the glory of the rescue. He wants the applause. He wants the rush. He wants the universe to stop and witness his brilliance. His fall is loud and blinding. His uniform morphs into ornate razor-edged armor that fuses with his skin. His constructs become twisted sensory nightmares, beautiful and agonizing to behold. He becomes the champion of excess, patrolling the galaxy no longer to protect it, but to reshape it into a paradise of sensation. Burning worlds simply because their screams sound like music, and their destruction creates the perfect palette of colors. In the arms of Slaanesh, our hero found a light so bright it seared his soul. The Justice League, once the pantheon of modern gods, is gone. Superman, the rotting gardener, Wonder Woman, the blood-soaked executioner, Batman, the maddened weaver of fate, Green Lantern, the addict of sensation. They did not lose to chaos. They were simply enhanced. Their virtues were twisted until they became their vices. But the warp is hungry for more. Who do you think should fall next? Does the Flash run straight into the arms of the Red Angel? Is Cyborg destined to finally enthrone the Architect of Damnation as the fifth Chaos God? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe lest the Inquisition finds you lacking in faith. The Ruinous Powers proved what they have known since the dawn of time. Even the brightest stars cast the deepest shadows, and in the grim darkness of the far future or the present, there is only war.